Good evening, everybody. Let's get started. Welcome, everybody, to the North Fair Oaks Community Council meeting for the month of February 2020. Happy New Year to all. Mitzi, if we can go through roll call, please.
Of course. Chair Everaldo Rodriguez.
Here.
Vice Chair Beatriz Cerrillo. Here. Councilmember Juan Carlos Prado.
Here.
Councilmember Linda Lopez. Here. Councilmember Rosaura Lopez. Here. Councilmember Blair Whitney.
Here.
Councilmember Jennifer Ruiz.
Here.
Youth Member Francis Santos.
Thank you. Let's go on with public comment. Anyone may speak up to 2 minutes on any topic not on the agenda tonight. If you wish to do so, please fill out a speaker's slip. It'll be given to you by at the table by the entrance, and the council may not discuss or take action on items not on the agenda tonight. Is there any public comment?
Through the chair, there is.
Okay.
Lupe Gutierrez.
Lupe Gutierrez.
Hi, good evening, Council. My name is Lupe Gutierrez. I'm a Fair Oaks Clinic employee for almost 27 years. I was born in Redwood City. I'm from Redwood City up until quite recently. I'm here because I want to urge the public and I want to urge you all to help us in health. There's a $57 million gap in the budget, and health is proposing to close that gap by eliminating 130 positions. And in eliminating 130 positions, they're also going to close the San Mateo Medical Center outpatient pharmacy, meaning unless you're in the hospital, unless you're hospitalized, you will no longer be able to receive medications there. They're going to close the pharmacy assistance program, which is how our patients that have cancer, lupus, things like that receive their very high costing medications. They've already reduced the senior care hours here at the Fair Oaks Clinic from 1.5 days to 1 day. They have eliminated our evening clinics for adult primary care, and they're going to do the same in ICC, which is the San Mateo Medical Center, and then it's going to move north. Just at 2 o'clock today, we received an email that they're also going to close the eye clinic, ophthalmology services at the medical center. They are also closing the Brewster Clinic, which is the mental health primary care clinic in downtown Redwood City. So those patients would either return to us at Fair Oaks, or they would be absorbed in the medical center, or more than likely, they just won't receive care. There's other cuts that are slowly coming out. We've had a lot of issues with transparency with this health executive team. Today we had notification from 2 employees that were not on the union's layoff list. Oh, I forgot to mention, I'm the SEIU chapter chair as well, so I'm a union person, a union steward. We had 2 employees that notified us that they were noticed about layoffs. They were not on our list of layoffs, and including of that, the health execs noticed employees, of layoffs, and that budget hasn't even been presented to the board or voted on yet. So we need everybody to support us on January 28th, Tuesday at 9 a.m. at the Board of Supervisors, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your message and your invitation. Is there any additional public comment?
Yes. Mike Morris.
Mr. Mike Morris.
Good evening. My name's Mike Morris, and I've lived in the North Fair Oaks area for 40 years. And I want to talk to you about a very important matter, and that is the Dumbarton Rail Corridor's plan to put a train in the area. There would be a train station and a train going right near where we are right now, near the Children's Library, the Fair Oaks Health Center, the Human Service Agency. There's just way too many children and families in the area. The train will bring pollution, crime, and accidents to the area. All of us have read news recently about all the crime and traffic on BART. Crime and accidents relating to trains. It's a matter of health and safety. I believe that the North Fair Oaks Community Council, your job is to protect the people of North Fair Oaks. So we really want you to oppose and stop the train. Just in December of last year, a woman was attacked at the Millbrae train station. In November of last year, a man was stabbed and killed on BART train in Hayward, and a little boy, 5-year-old boy, was killed on in Santa Clara on a train track. The area just has too many children, too many families. The area has never had a train. It did have a slow freight train many years ago, but it's never had a free commuter train or a train station. We don't want the BART-type problems. We don't want Caltrain problems. Caltrain, which would go through here, would be a non-fare gate train, no social security at the train stations, and we just don't want the problems that a train would bring. Another thing that we're concerned about is the Facebook giving money to Samtrans, and then Samtrans coming up with a plan that benefits Facebook and Menlo Park. Years ago, that used to be called a bribe and a payoff. I'm not saying that's what it is, but that's what it was called years ago. And we're wondering why a wealthy transit agency would want to do business with Facebook since it's been under investigation for unethical and illegal business practices. And
last year they paid a $5 billion fine regarding that. Thank you very much. Thank you for your comment. Any additional public comment?
Yes. Gabriela Valencia.
Good evening. My name is Gabriela Valencia. I'm a nurse practitioner at Fair Oaks Health Center down the street from here. And I'm also a resident of North Fair Oaks. I've lived here for more than 20 years. As you might already know, some of you may or may not be familiar with this, but I believe Lupe mentioned this. The San Mateo Medical Center and its affiliated clinics serve the most vulnerable members in our community, and the number of vulnerable individuals that need services from San Mateo Medical Center is only increasing due to the economic forces and increasing costs of housing in this region. The services we provide are critical to the survival of many vulnerable individuals in our community. And San Mateo Medical Center is facing a $48 million budget deficit for the upcoming fiscal year. Members of the leadership team of the San Mateo Medical Center have been exploring different options to address this budget deficit. And while I wish they find a way to address this budget deficit, I'm very concerned about their intent of cutting critical positions and critical services. This is a very rich county, and we need to make sure that we provide the services necessary for those that are most vulnerable in our society. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment. Any additional public comment?
No, that's it.
Thanks very much.
Through the chair, can we make a note that we ask the health department to present to the council what their proposal is for District 4 health services? Because what I'm hearing is tremendous. Along with the cuts, it sounds like there's some major contract violations, but I request that they present a proposal to the council. Thank you.
And through the chair.
Thank you, Linda. Yes.
Am I on?
Please, Justin.
I don't know if I'm on here, but in any case, I just want to reiterate something that was already said, is that January 28th at the Board of Supervisors meeting, there is a study session on this item, and the Health Department will be presenting the proposals at that meeting.
I'm talking about a District 4 presentation, information, and we can get additional information. I got that information.
Yeah, and I welcome anybody who's interested. That is going to be a very comprehensive meeting. We can look into something. It's these proposals. There's a lot of process and law associated with how they're brought forward, and so I would encourage. I'm not positive we'll be able to facilitate that. We will look into a presentation for the North Fair Oaks Community Council, but I would also just encourage anybody who's interested.
Sure.
There's going to be a very robust meeting next week on Tuesday.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and perhaps since this is going to be a comprehensive meeting on the 28th, of course, it's going to involve everything that's affecting all the clinics within San Mateo County. And however, I would be most interested in learning about the impacts specifically to the Fair Oaks Community Clinic, which may or may not be covered, during the comprehensive meeting. So I think that, pending on that presentation on the 28th to the Board of Supervisors, maybe we can then table, an additional presentation that specifically focuses on the issues pertaining to the Fair Oaks Clinic. Thank you very much. So the next item will be a quarterly update by the California Highway Patrol, and we'll have a presentation by Officer Art Montiel.
So we can raise this up a little bit. Good evening. My name is Officer Montiel with the California Highway Patrol. We don't have any new updates in regards to the last quarter. Thankfully, we haven't had any major collisions in the in this area. However, we wanted to, I don't know, there's some people that I haven't seen in the past. So just to give you an idea, I've been with the department for approximately 13 years. The public information officer, I'm in charge of community outreach as well as media. Well, I pretty much talk to the media. We pretty much like to see if there's anything that you guys have, and if you have any questions for the Highway Patrol, something that you would like to see in the North Fair Oaks area that you haven't seen in the past.
At this point, I would invite questions from council members. If you have any suggestions for future updates from the Highway Patrol, those are welcome.
No, just to give you an idea about what the Highway Patrol covers, the Redwood City area covers approximately 550 square miles in the Bay Area, all the way from Millbrae down to Sunnyvale, and all the way from the coast to Cloudwater and Hayward, including the San Mateo Bridge. The Hayward office will cover the Dumbarton Bridge, and including in our area, it's about 300 miles of arterial highways, and typically we have approximately 10 officers working the road to cover the entire area during every shift. So, and that'll be on a good day.
One question that I often have is as traffic has increased tremendously in the entire Bay Area, not just here in the peninsula, has the CHP increased the number of agents, or has it remained fairly the same? Do you know?
We've been trying. We've been hiring, and unfortunately, most people don't know, but out of approximately every 100 applicants that apply with the CHP, about one of them will make it to the academy. Out of all the ones that make it to the academy, about 35% will not graduate from the academy. And out of that percentage, we'll lose another 10% during the first year. So we are constantly hiring. We are looking for good people that want to work with the public, that want to help the public. However, we have some very high standards, and we're not going to lower our standards. We're going to continue looking for qualified individuals.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Through the chair, I know that CHP has worked with San Mateo County Sheriffs for many years. Could you, and they're here, they're going to present themselves. Could you tell us or what exactly on the unincorporated part of San Mateo County you cover, and specifically in North Fair Oaks, and also what your collaboration is or working together with San Mateo County sheriffs, since you guys kind of share or patrol the same area?
So the area that's unincorporated, the sheriff will handle anything that's penal code violations, and the highway patrol will handle anything that's vehicle code. So they can still stop somebody on Middlefield Road, right around this area, and if it's something that's related to a DUI or a crash, then they'll contact CHP and we'll handle the investigation. Other than that, I mean, they have pretty much the same responsibilities in the area. They can stop people, they can cite them for whatever in running a stop sign, things like that. But anytime that it comes to DUIs and collisions that's unincorporated, the CHP will handle that investigation. And in regards to the collaboration that we do community events. We have the Dia del Niño that comes in April. We have the bicycle rodeo that we had last year at Hoover. We had some events during Christmas, so there's just a lot of different events that we do.
So as far as jurisdictions, you guys share equal jurisdiction in the area?
Pretty much. So the CHP handles all freeways in San Mateo County, and we handle the vehicle code violations in unincorporated county. So, and the San Mateo County Sheriff will handle what's penal code violations. And that was with on the coast, on Millbrae and Redwood City, so all those areas that, actually not Millbrae, that's all of you guys. But so anything that's unincorporated will handle the vehicle code violations.
And the officers that patrol North Fair Oaks in particular are out of the Redwood City veterans?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so our offices are, we have one in San Francisco, Redwood City, San Jose, Hayward, Dublin. So we're pretty spread out, and then we each cover a certain amount.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from council members? Any questions or public comment?
Through
to
the chair,
this item?
there is Mike Morris.
I'm sorry, sir, could you step up to the mic? Because this is because of the...
I don't bite. You can come over here.
Yeah. It's because of the video that, often when people watch the video, they cannot hear the questions, and so they don't know what the issue is related to.
Thank you and the Sheriff's Department for doing a great job. I live near Bay Road, and there's been a big increase of traffic because of Stanford. And I was wondering if you can maybe increase the patrols in that area. Also at Florence and Marsh Road, there's a sign that says no vehicles over 3 tons. And we've been noticing a lot of big trucks going through the area. There's a change right at Taft School. They're putting in like a little intersection lights things, which could help. But we'd like to see more traffic enforcement, because what happened many years ago, Menlo Park reconfigured Edison Way and Fair Oaks Avenue. That resulted in a lot more traffic on 5th Avenue, Middlefield Road, Bay Road, 2nd Avenue. A lot more traffic, a lot more accidents and delays for the people in North Fair Oaks. It seems that Menlo Park's kind of pushed their problems into our area, and we're kind of upset about that. So we get a lot more traffic. I know that Bay Road's kind of funny because the west side is county and the east side is city of Redwood City. So it's kind of like almost 3 different jurisdictions in there. But again, thank you for your work, and if you can, help us, we would appreciate it.
We'll do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so basically, even though the Bay Road will be, part of it will be county, part of it will be city, we pretty much patrol anywhere in California. So we have jurisdiction in the entire state of California, so we can just drive through the area and just let our sergeants know that we need a little more focus on that area.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for coming tonight.
Anybody else?
No, I think that's it, right?
No?
Yeah. No further.
Great. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. You too. Next, we will have item number 4 is the Multicultural Institute quarterly update. Presentation by Cesar Mesa Esvia. Good evening. We're going to present today our quarterly report to the Norfolk Council, and we are presenting from the Quarter 2 report, October to December 2019. In this chart, you can find the general information about the program with numbers. So, and we are reporting in your first column under month. We're going to report in October, November, and December. And in the green area, you find information related to numbers related to day labors. In the first column of the green area, you have how many day laborers we have present on the street on Middlefield Road and also in Fifth Avenue. And you have the average right there. So in October, we have 22, November 20, and December 26. Those numbers were the average for those months. And so far this fiscal year, the average number is 22. The second column in green is percentage of the laborers contacted by MI staff on the streets, and it was 100%. And related with job matches and total jobs, October 48 jobs, November 42, and December 32 jobs. So far, we already offered to the day laborers 220 jobs this fiscal year. Employers' satisfaction, it was 100% in the 3 months. We usually, when we send a day laborer to work for an employer, we follow up with the day laborer and also with the employer. So we measure the level of satisfaction of both parties. And unduplicated registered day laborers, we had 20 on October, 9 in November, and 4 on December. So the number right now is 152 until December. Other people served non-day laborers, unduplicated employers. We add 16 employers on October, 5 and 5 in November and December, and the total, the unduplicated employers that we have so far is 60. Unduplicated other low income served with different kind of services, also people of the community, low income people of the community who are not day laborers. It was 15 in October, 5 in November, and 74 in December. In the last area that you have, the blue area, is direct services and referrals. Legal labor, wage claim, immigration, and other cases. We offer direct services for the wage claims, and usually we refer people when they need help with immigration or other legal cases. We refer to our nonprofit partners in the area. In October, it was 13, November 2, and only 1 in December. In health cases, it's usually we offer workshops, and we also refer people to the different, to the hospital or the clinic. We help people to fill out forms and interpretation of letters and documents and explanation about how to apply to the ACE program, Medical, etc., you name it. And it's a lot of prevention, work on the streets with the day laborers. And it was 32-0 in November and 5 in December. And then we also offer snacks to the day laborers in a daily basis on the streets. And also we offer food in the house that we have in Norfolk Oaks on Warrington Avenue. And we offer 435 on October, 532 on November, and 566 on December. And then the housing service, as you may know, we have a house on Warrington. So in that house, we offer housing for day laborers, and the capacity that we have is 6 people. Right now, we have 5 people because we are now we are remodeling the house. We purchased the house at the end of last year with the help of the county, and we are remodeling the space right now. And we also have our offices in the same place. So we're in the heart of the North Fair Oaks area. And then the workshops, trainings, most of these workshops are presented on the street, but we also have workshops for our domestic workers group. And we have, every other week, we have meetings with the domestic workers women here at the North Fair Oaks Community Center. And in October, we offer 6 workshops, and the total participants are 63. And November, 3 workshops, 19 participants. And on December, and 1 workshop and 155 participants. Other cases or services who are not legal related with food, health, housing services or workshops, it was 28 on October, 43 on November, and 196 on December. So, and so far we have been offering this fiscal year 50 legal related services or referrals, 120 health cases, and related with food and snacks, 3,227. Housing, we offer housing for 6-day laborers this fiscal year. Workshops, 19 workshops, and 335 participants. And other cases, 446. The total number of referrals and direct services this fiscal year so far is 4,214. Do you have any question about this chart? The council members, you have papers. I don't want to go to explain everything, but you have also the breakdowns for the numbers that we provide in the chart. So there you have all the numbers provided in the chart, so you can see what is what. So now my coworker Josue, he's gonna highlight some activities and events that we have in this quarter.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Josue Revolorio. I'm also I'm working with Cesar here in North Fair Oaks area. And I would like to highlight some of the activities that we had during this quarter. MIF staff, along with the laborers and domestic workers, attended a workshop, Financial Empowerment, presented by Karen and San Mateo Credit Union. We also had 2 monthly, day laborer meetings at our office, the house that we have here, and the topics that we had with them were stress management and insomnia. MIA staff also attended the Climate Ready North Fair Oaks meeting. We attended the Silicon Valley Community Foundation Census 2020 cohort meeting. We attended 4 San Mateo County Complete Count Committee meetings during that quarter. We had domestic workers bi-weekly meetings, and in those meetings we had some workshops that we facilitated for them, and some of the topics included stress reduction and stress management. We also visited Samaritan House Clinic, and we were able to talk to Dr. Wong, and talking to him, he reiterated and we reached an agreement to have their free flu shots for day laborers, among other health services. MI staff also attended 3 CSI Community Fund Training Strategy cohort at Stanford University. we attended as a staff the monthly immigrant forum, as well as the Caron Advisory Board meeting. We had, with domestic workers, we celebrated Thanksgiving as well, as during one of our regular meetings with them. In early December, actually on December the 2nd, the remodeling of the house started at the Casa de Paz y Bien. We had also our first Norfolk Oaks Anniversary Dinner Planning Committee meeting. 30 bicycles were donated by Samtrans through Caron program. We celebrated our Navidad, our traditional annual Navidad Jornalera, or Day Labor Christmas celebration in Norfolk Oaks. And lastly, day laborers and MI staff volunteer at the Sheriff's Office event in Norfolk Oaks. Thank you.
So, time is up. So, you have any questions? But in the meantime, I'm going to show you some pictures of the Navidad Jornalera, where we have 155 people attending and more than 30 volunteers. We have gifts, and through the Sheriff Office, Capital Cristina Corporate and Caron program, we offer toys for the kids also at that event. And finally, I would like to invite everybody to support the MI efforts in Norfolk Oaks, attending our annual anniversary dinner at the Synapse School on March 5th, 2020. So we have two planning committee members here, Councilwoman Linda Lopez and also Captain Cristina Corpus. I don't know if you have any question for us. Please go ahead, ask questions.
Yes, through the chair. Just so I'm clear, the Casa de Paz y Bien, is that your location on Warrington?
Yes.
Could you publicly give the address so the people in Norfolk Oaks community know where that's located, please?
They can know, obviously, yeah. So, and it's 533 Warrington Avenue. And yeah, it's in the heart of the Norfolk Oaks area, actually. Okay. So we're very close to the community.
My follow-up question is, have you had any collaboration or work with Bay Area Gardeners Association, another organization that meets here in Norfolk Oaks?
Actually, yeah, when I got here almost 14 years ago, I started talking with them and we have some conversations. So I know some of them, and actually I contacted, but so far we don't have any specific activity or something that we are doing together. So.
Okay, I only ask because I'm the current president, so we're going to be now working together.
That's excellent. That's excellent news.
No,
Thank you so much.
I say that because we are another nonprofit that we've been meeting here in this room actually for more than 20 years. So I think that it's time that we collaborate, and I think there's a lot of mutual benefits.
You are talking about the... I was missing. You were talking about the foundation of Mr. Tapia?
No. The association.
Oh, okay, the association.
Yes.
Okay.
It's called the Bay Area Gardeners Association.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. But that a foundation is associated.
Excellent.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you.
I appreciate it.
He's already on my list to send.
That's
I'm going
perfect.
to send him all the info.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank
so
you.
you guys make a connection.
Thank you.
I had one question, Cesar. Thank you very much for your presentation. I was wondering if given the situations with the rent increases, and many people moving away out of Norfolk Oaks, if you have had an increase in requests, for day laborers, that is noticeable, or has it remained pretty much the same?
You're asking about the
asking for housing services, or we have more day laborers on the streets?
If regular people call you, to get day labor help, has it been an increase or a decrease?
The number of jobs.
Right.
We have been doing better, I think, this fiscal year, that for sure. So our numbers are been increasing, the numbers of jobs that we are providing to the day labor. So yeah, I can say that we were having more people asking for day laborers help. And as you may know, more of our employers are homeowners in the area.
Right.
Redwood City, North Fair Oaks, Menlo Park, Atherton, Belmont, San Carlos, Palo Alto.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you very much. It looks like you guys have been pretty busy, and I'm glad to hear that.
We try, and also we are working very hard in order to promote the Census 2020. So.
Right. Yeah. Thanks very much. Are there any further questions from other council members? Okay. Thanks very much for your presentation.
Have a good night.
Good night. Okay, and moving along with item number 5 on the agenda, we'll have a quarterly update by the San Mateo County Sheriff's Office. And Captain Christina Corpus, I believe, will give the update.
Good evening, council members, Deputy County Manager Mates, County Council Tim Fox, members of the community. My name is Captain Christina Corpus, and I oversee the law enforcement services for North Fair Oaks. Tonight, I'll be presenting our quarterly report that goes from October 2019 through December 2019. So I will be reporting on crime organizational performance and community outreach initiatives for North Fair Oaks. So our Part 1 crimes are universal standard, which crime is measured in the United States. So for this quarter, which we will compare to the same time in 2018, we had some increase in some crimes, and a lot of this is due to crime of opportunity. People are out shopping, it's the holidays. We also have, there's been an impact on housing, so we have more homeless people, we have more people that have addiction that are looking to steal something or take something so they can feed their addiction. But we continue with our efforts and continue with really just enforcement in those areas where we've seen the increase in crime. So for this year, we've had an increase in robberies. We've had 5 increases in assaults, and I need to point out that some of for the majority of those assaults happened when people were intoxicated and leaving bars in the area. Our burglary rate went down by 2 cases, and the rape remained the same. And with the rape, it was someone that was known to the victim. So the comparison rates in violent crimes versus nonviolent, like I said, the robberies went up by 4, our assaults went up by 5, but we did have a decrease in residential burglaries by 2 cases. So we have some decreases in crime. So we really focused, last year we did a lot of education to our members of the community in regards to parking when we do our street cleaning. So this year we have seen a decrease. So last year we were at 3,368 parking citations, and for this quarter they went down, so we were at 2,492. Our moving violations also went down, although we've done more focused enforcement. And I can say that we have a very good relationship with the California Highway Patrol, and we do dual enforcement. So if we know that there's an area where the vehicles aren't stopping in the crosswalks for the pedestrian, we will work together. And we've also there are 2 motorcycle units in Headquarters Patrol, and we've also teamed up with the California Highway Patrol to do more enforcement around the schools and on Middlefield Road. So there is a larger presence in regards to traffic. And again, that's educating as well. So overall, we've We've experienced a bit of a increase in crime in comparison to 2018, but we are aware of those crime trends, and I can tell you it's just not particular to North Fair Oaks. There's other parts of the county that are experiencing those same crimes. So what we've done is done more proactive responses by planning new strategies, looking at what works and what doesn't, and then also engagement to the community members, trying to get people to work with us so they can call in when they see a suspicious vehicle or they see something suspicious. And we've also continued with our community engagement, strengthening our efforts to build that bond with the community. We do that through our CARON, our SAL, and our community policing efforts. Also, we've involved our patrol deputies to act in the same manner as our community policing officers. So we want everyone to have the same mentality of everyone in the sheriff's office that works in a community is a community policing officer. So what we've worked on is technology. So we have ShotSpotter technology, which will alert us when there is some type of a illegal firework or there is a gunshot. We also have worked on bettering our, really enhancing our website. We're also going to be working on our CARON website and enhancing that. And then we try to utilize our social media platforms as best as we can to get those messages out to the community. And again, we worked for New Year's Eve. We did have extra patrol out. I did have some other units that were unmarked vehicles that worked specifically to respond and be present so we can minimize the illegal fireworks and the illegal gunfire. We did a lot of education around that. We put up banners. We worked with Menlo Park Fire District. We worked with the Redwood City Police Department. We put up flyers. We had dialogues in regards to it. So we really did additional efforts to try to at least minimize or stop that behavior. So our clearance rates have gone up. So in some of in regards to some of our cases, so we've had 100% clearance on our rape cases, 40% on our robberies, our assaults 71%, excuse me. Our burglaries are about at 50%. So a lot of these cases are still active cases and are still under investigation. So again, our community at large, we continue with our parenting classes. We continue reading to the kids at the library. We continue having our coffee with the community. We started some new initiatives. We have a painting with deputies that we offer to both adults and to their children. We also have additional youth academies. We've worked and done some work around our community academies. We also had we've partnered up with Casa Círculo, and we've done some things around Dia de los Muertos and did some sugar skulls with deputies. So we invited kids from the community and their parents to come, and we created sugar skulls. It was actually an artist that came from Mexico that's here for Dia de los Muertos. And then we also had a really good mental health academy that was in collaboration with Supervisor Warren Slocum's office, which was very successful. And then this year we started a new initiative. So prior years, we would go to Santa Clara and we would be involved in Shop with the Cop there. But personally going, I felt that I had no connection to the children that were there. So I wanted to bring it here. So we started it this year and it was very successful. We had 60 kids. We raised enough money to give 60 kids a $150 Target gift card. We partnered with Target here in Redwood City, and we were able to shop with 60 children from all over San Mateo County. A large part were from here in North Fair Oaks. So we had 69 law enforcement officers, which included some CHP officers, and then we actually had 30 volunteers to assist us in that event. And if I can just show a very quick video so you can kind of get an idea. And yes, and I'd like to actually, I'd like to thank MI for helping us at that event as well.
Shop with a Cop. It took a lot of hard work, a lot of dedicated hours, but all for a good cause. We're out today, we're partnering with Target. So this year we have 60 kids. We tried to pick kids that had maybe faced some adversity and that maybe had some challenges. And so we're looking forward to really getting to know those children and them getting to know us in a different light and really just having a good time and having them go shopping. So our office used to participate in other Shop with the Cops in other communities, and we thought, why not bring it here to San Mateo County where we can actually make a difference with the children that we serve in our own communities. We would hope to see more children, that we could serve more children, and get other of our partners, other of our law enforcement partners to participate and come shop with a cop.
Donate, and it was $150 a kid. A lot of people donated to sponsor one or two kids. A lot of the deputies actually donated to sponsor kids, the GSA, the Sergeants Association, the credit union, all different groups donated to sponsor kids. We got 60 kids out here shopping today, and we're pretty excited.
We are looking at awesome artwork. She's an artist. She's getting different colors to make more beautiful art. Vinyl record. Yeah.
So we may have some technical I did it on a thumb drive, but it didn't play my
He's local celebrity right here at Target.
Here is this country, dishwashing soap, condoms.
Exciting. It's an opportunity for Sheriff Bolanos and his team to really go out in the communities and serve the communities in a different way. It's very meaningful to us just to see the children smile and just be happy. That's all the hard work and effort that we put forward is just completely worth it.
If I can tell you, it was very, a lot of the children wanted to buy for their families, and they even bought necessities, like, one little girl wanted to buy a lot of toilet paper because she said that a lot of times in her household they run out. And so the Sheriff's Office, the Association of the Sheriff's Office, and also the Deputies Association got together, and so they allowed, they went and bought kind of like household goods for this family that was on the coast. We had one little girl that was very excited because she got a bike, and when she realized that the bike was going to take over a large portion of her gift card, she put the bike back. So we were able to get her a bike, and we invited her and her family and presented her with a bike. So, that was very meaningful to us. It was our first year doing it, and we had some great sponsors and some great partnerships. As you can see, Samtrans and Target was there, and of course the credit union, and we had a lot of private donors. So thank you to everyone that donated during that time. So I'd like to I'd like to introduce, before I take questions, Sergeant Salvador Zuno, and he can come up to the podium and just introduce himself really quickly. He is our new CARON director. Sergeant Victor Lopez, When he was promoted, he stayed for an additional year until we can find a replacement, and luckily we have a replacement, so Salvador Zuno.
Good evening, everybody, council members, thank you. So yeah, my name is Salvador Zuno. I'm the new director for the Care On program. I took it over from my very good friend, Victor Lopez, who is still a very good friend. So, both Victor and I are former members of this community. It's like I grew up here. My first communion was here at St. Anthony's. I went to a lot of local schools. In fact, Mr. Prado and I went to school together. So, we are from this community. I've been with the Sheriff's Office for 19 years. And many of those years I've worked alongside Captain Corpus. So I share her values, and I'm very excited to be here. And we look forward to continuing the great work that we've been doing here in North Fair Oaks with our community. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions?
First I'd like to commend you and thank you for your work, for not only keeping North Fair Oaks safe, but also to go to the extent of also provide for these children and to try to help them, even in a very small way, but meaningful to them. I think I can speak for everybody here that we truly appreciate that extra effort that you make, and it doesn't go unnoticed. So thank you very much for the efforts.
Thank you for that.
And if council members have any questions, please go ahead.
No, I wanted to thank you also, Captain Corpus. Great report, great video, especially the shop part. Everyone looks so happy. So is that going to be like an annual thing with Target, you think?
So we're hoping that Target will from the commitment that we've gotten from them, yes.
Oh.
And, next year, maybe I would like to see if I can invite the council to come and shop with us. We have breakfast at about 8:30 in the morning, but it gives us an opportunity to meet the kids that we are going to go shopping with. So if anyone would like to go, you guys are more than welcome, and we can pair you up with a deputy or maybe anyone from our organization, and you can shop with one of the kids. And it's I can tell you that that's probably been the best event that I've ever been involved in, probably something that I've been most proud of just because of the impact that not only it had on me, but on those children. So.
Yeah, and you were able to reach a lot of kids.
Yes.
There were a lot. How many?
60.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a nice big
and
number.
and we had children that had special needs. We had children that, really didn't have a whole lot.
Yeah.
So our criteria was basically we asked that the patrol deputies and our partners give us some referrals to children that they've had some type of a contact with, and we were able to get a good group of children and really kind of hopefully impact them in a positive way for the holidays.
Okay. It was very good. Just a great presentation. Thank you very much.
Through the chair.
Yes, go ahead, Rosaura.
I have a question. Thank you very much for to make our community happy. That's so excited for not just for the children, also for the entire family. And there is a limit of number that us children that can be participating next year. 60 is the limit number, or it can be more than that.
Yeah, so our goal is to raise enough money to reach more children, because there's obviously children that we didn't reach.
Yeah.
And so our outreach efforts will be greater. We'll start the planning process earlier. So this year, I was actually able to get some children from referrals from HSA from the county, and we actually did pick some families that of incarcerated people that we have. So, a lot of times we have. We had a grandmother from North Fair Oaks, and she's caring for her grandchildren because both her daughter and her son-in-law are incarcerated. So we were able to bring both girls shopping, and they had a really, really good time. So, we do make that extra effort to not just pick, kids that are getting good grades, so to speak. We want to make sure that we reach those children that sometimes are unreachable.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yes.
I'm sorry, I had one more question about your statistics.
Sure.
And I think it was asked last month. The assault, the number on the assaults, is that including domestic violence or not?
No, that's separate. So
how do you, or are we going to get like some kind of a separate report?
yeah, I can go in my next report out. I can go more in depth about domestic violence and then more about what our efforts are to really do education
Because I think you
surrounded
said the
around that.
victim knew the
those were in that specific rape that we had.
Oh, that was
Yeah,
okay.
it wasn't a random rape. It
Okay.
was someone that was known.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll make sure that I do that next time.
Thank you.
Juan Carlos, did you have a question? Yeah. Go ahead.
Through the chair, I wanted to congratulate Sergeant Salvador. It's ironic that you're starting as a Karen director and involved here as I'm starting here on the council after having grown up in the community here. I have a couple of questions, clarification more than questions, I suppose. On the vehicle theft category, does that include vehicle vandalism or actually theft of the vehicle?
That would be the theft of the vehicle. So
Okay,
stealing a vehicle, right?
Okay.
And
Where will we get information about, vandalism or theft of vehicles? Because that seems to be increasing crime also.
Yeah, so that's included in the larceny category.
Okay.
Yeah, so larceny is really categorized as a property crime. So anytime a property crime occurs, and that could be, to a residence, a vehicle, or to, some type of a building, that would fall under the larceny.
And there was a significant increase, I would say, out of all the categories. That was the one that increased the most, arson. Do you happen to, off the top of your head, since it's such a general category, what segment of that?
Yeah, a large segment of the larceny is vehicle theft, people breaking into people's vehicles. It takes maybe 30 seconds for these criminals to break into a vehicle and steal whatever they can find in the vehicle. If they see something, they're going to take it. So it's a crime of opportunity. And a lot of times what they do is they'll rent a vehicle out of a rent-a-car, maybe most of the time out of the airport, and they'll use a stolen credit card, and they're very sophisticated. Well, they'll have an identification from another state that matches the name on the credit card, and they will go to there's these organized rings of people that will go from, say, Los Angeles and come all the way down to the Bay Area, and there's a lot of money involved here. So that's it's an epidemic right now for law enforcement. So Los Angeles just arrested a bunch of people that are from the Bay Area that went down they were hitting museums, they were hitting large shopping malls, and they were able to arrest, I think they made 35 arrests, and they were from the Bay Area.
Also, since the intersection of Woodside Road and Middlefield recently got redone, and I use that intersection quite a bit, I see a lot of red light violations. I mean, constantly. I'm sure if you had a deputy there full time, you could be ticketing left and right. I'm just wondering, particularly that intersection, because it is a major intersection and a major gateway to North Fair Oaks. Could you give any kind of information as far as if you've seen any increase, or are you going to increase patrol in that intersection? Can you share a little bit of that?
We can, so that is kind of a shared jurisdiction there with Redwood City Police Department. So we can actually work with our partners at the CHP, with our office, and with Redwood City on maybe having some more enforcement in that area. With all the new buildings that are coming up, I mean, just all of the new, the new developments, in Redwood City, we just have an impact on traffic. It takes, even for me to get down here during the day from the Hall of Justice, it takes me maybe 20 minutes when before it would take me, maybe 10 or 12 minutes. But it's definitely impacted traffic. So, and we are aware of that.
Okay, and then one last thing. There's a couple of streets that the community in the part of Fair Oaks Elementary School are concerned, and that's with speeding vehicles, and particularly Hampshire and Warrington, because there's several blocks of both of the streets that don't have any stop signs, and there's a large concentration of families and small children and bicycles, and once in a while you see people just racing up and down, and particularly those two streets. I'm just sharing the sentiments from a lot of the neighbors from speeding cars. So.
Okay, yeah, I can actually work with our DPW, maybe to see if we can do some type of a survey, if something could be done in regards to, the amount of stop signs that are in the area, and maybe making some improvements that way. And then also concentrating. We do have, the other concern that we have is KIPP school has come in, and we are working with them, but really, they have a large contingency of students when, I think before, Fair Oaks School had maybe less than 300 students, and now it's like at 1,000. And so we have, it creates a large backup. So we're working with them to try to come up with a plan rather than them double parking on Hampshire, because I had to put a lot of effort into that area due to the fact that people are in line to pick their children up, and they get out of the line when their child comes out, but they're still in that big line, and they will get out of the line and then travel eastbound when on opposite traffic, which creates, it's just an accident waiting to happen. So I do have concentrated, efforts of enforcement down there. And we don't like ticketing parents, but we have to stop bad behavior. So we're working with the school to try to come up with a different solution, but that has impacted that neighborhood negatively.
And along those lines, because this is particularly what I'm addressing, Hampshire and Warrington, which gets some of that traffic.
Absolutely.
But on North Side, that's where the cars start lining up, all the way from North Side and all of Hampshire until they get to the school. And we're talking 5 blocks. Right. And so some of the businesses along North Side are complaining because it's affecting their flow of traffic, and they have commercial vehicles. And I know it's a very difficult area because it's industrial, and then you got the residential, then you got the school, who just tripled the amount of kids from 300 to over 1,000.
Yes.
That's news. So again, I'm just concerned about that area, just like you are. I'm glad that you're addressing that. That's good for the community to know that's something that the sheriff's is addressing ongoing.
Yeah, we've been working with the school. We just have to, it's either going to be a compromise, or we're just going to have to enforce the double parking rule. I don't want to do that. I want to try to be flexible, but then I also have to think about the impact that it's had on the neighborhood there and the people that live there. Sometimes people can't even get out of their driveways because they're being blocked in. And on North Side, it's a very narrow area. So if you have a big commercial truck parked and then somebody's trying to go around it, it just calls for a recipe for a disaster, and an accident is just waiting to happen. And the concern is that, an innocent child will get hurt. So.
Thank you very much. In the interest of time, we'll move on to public comment, because we still have several items. But thank you very much, Captain Corpus, and welcome to Officer Salvador Zuno. Happy to see you on board.
No public comment.
No public comment. Okay, so we'll go on to next item, which is a presentation regarding Reimagine Samtrans, deep analysis on the bus system, and we'll have a presentation by Amy Linhan.
Good evening. My name is actually Millie Tollison. Amy had coordinated for us to come, but I'm here representing. Instead, I'm a principal planner.
I'm sorry, your name again?
Millie.
Millie.
Millie. Tollison.
Thank you.
So I'm very happy to be here this evening to give an update on a project called Reimagine Samtrans. This evening, I'm going to give a brief overview of what the project is, our project purpose, and our timeline, as well as a little bit of a little sneak peek into some of our early work on existing conditions, what is happening with Samtrans today, as well as market research and public outreach work. So what is Reimagine Samtrans? Reimagine Samtrans is what we call, in sort of the transportation world, a comprehensive operational analysis. In other words, it is a very in-depth, comprehensive study of a transit network to identify areas of opportunity and areas of improvement. And Samtrans last completed a study similar to this in 2013, which was called the Samtrans Service Plan. And transit agencies around the country are undertaking these types of projects in light of trends like declining ridership on public transit is really a trend that a lot of agencies are seeing, changing demographics, and the introduction of all sorts of new transportation options. You know, people have more choices than ever for how to get around. So Samtrans is not immune to these challenges at all, but we really are we're excited and we're really uniquely positioned to try new things and address these challenges because of our new Measure W funding. So Reimagine Samtrans will result in a redesigned bus network in 2021, and that's a pretty big statement. So I want to be clear that we're nowhere near sure how redesigned it will be. It may look fairly similar today, or it may look fairly different, and we're really looking for input from all throughout the community on what it should look like. So our purpose, we have a few sort of purpose statements for our project. The first is to improve the experience for our existing customers. The second is to grow new and more frequent ridership on our bus routes. And third is to build our own efficiency and effectiveness internally as a mobility provider. So this slide has our project timeline. We are currently in winter 2019, so we started the project last summer in July. We've been analyzing the state of our current Samtrans network. We have been doing market research. We also did our first round of public outreach, first of 3 rounds of public outreach that will be part of the project. And we're taking all of that into what we're going to be putting together some service guidelines for how we design our service and how we measure our success. So that's really what our team is working on right now, along with our board. And looking ahead, we will be designing 3 sets of service alternatives, and essentially that just means that there will be 3 different potential new bus networks for the community to consider. That will be available in the spring, and we'll do a second round of public outreach to get feedback on those 3 alternatives. Over in kind of late spring, early summer, we'll then develop what we call a final alternative or a final new bus network. We will bring that back out to the community for a 3rd round of public outreach. And then we will begin to plan for implementation. What would it take to really implement a brand new bus network in San Mateo County? And next winter, about a year from now, we're hoping that our board will adopt that new bus network following 2 more rounds of public outreach. So our first phase, as I mentioned, has had a few parts. Samtrans Today, which is looking at our existing conditions of our bus system, market research, and public outreach. And all of this is building into a service policy framework. Like I mentioned, that really dictates how we think about designing our bus system, what the different trade-offs are, and how we measure the success of our bus system. So a little bit on Samtrans Today. We provide nearly 7 million miles of passenger bus service each year. We serve more than 35,000 passenger boardings every weekday around the county, and we operate currently 70 fixed route bus routes and 1 on-demand route, which is currently a pilot that's running out in Pacifica. So this is a picture of our bus system. It's a little bit hard to read, but we have many different route categories and types. The routes that are shown in blue typically connect to BART. The routes that are shown in red typically connect to a Caltrain station. We also have community routes that typically serve schools, and those are shown in green. So we have a lot of different route purposes. We also have a lot of dense population on the bay side of the county. We have more rural population out on the coast that we serve. We have some east-west routes, but it's a little bit limited, and congestion is really heavy on the roadways that congestion is pretty heavy everywhere, but that's very heavy on the roadways that goes east-west in the county. Our street network and our topography are things that we really have to keep in mind around the county. There's a lot of very hilly parts of our county that need a different type of service. And we also provide service beyond the county lines. We serve downtown San Francisco. We also serve Palo Alto to the south. So this map has bubbles that show stop level boardings. So this is by stop throughout our system. And just a few takeaways are that the top 5 stops for boardings are all Caltrain or BART stations. So we do think that we can tell that people are using our system to connect either to Caltrain or BART or to go to destinations that are near Caltrain or BART stations. The strongest ridership clusters are in North County, but there are certainly opportunities that exist in South County at key transfer points. Redwood City Transit Center was one of the top 5 locations for boardings in our system. So the next piece that I want to tell you a little bit about is our market research that we did this fall. We did a countywide transportation survey, and the goal of that was really to understand the overall transportation preferences and habits of our county residents, understand their travel behavior. We're very interested in hearing from both riders and non-riders, their willingness to try transit or other modes, and the experiences that they're having with Samtrans. So this was a statistically significant survey. So our team really made sure that the responses aligned well with the different demographics of our county to make sure that we're hearing from everyone and that we're making sure that we're hearing from all parts of the county. So when it was all said and done, we had over 1,800 survey takers. And we also held 3 focus groups. We held one English-speaking non-rider focus group, English-speaking rider focus group, and a Spanish-speaking non-rider and rider combined focus group. And I think just a few things to take away from this. We're still going through all the data from the survey, but 28% of folks actually had not heard of Samtrans, which I think seems a little high for our countywide bus system. So we know we have some work to do to get the brand awareness out in our community. We also found that for people who do know about Samtrans, they really see it as a really important part of the community, really the kind of hometown bus system, which is wonderful to hear. And we're learning that real-time bus information is really important, real-time arrival information, so that people can walk out and know how long they're going to have to wait for the bus is something that we're hearing about repeatedly as something that folks are looking for. So the third piece I wanted to talk about is our broader community outreach. We held in November and early December 55 events. We've also had a few that have trickled into January. We were out at bus stops, transit hubs, community events, giving presentations all over the county. And it was really, really great to get out and really interact with our customers and our community members about Samtrans. We also did a virtual town hall, which folks can watch anytime, can be rewatched anytime at our website, which is reimaginesamtrans.com. We've done 7 listening sessions of our bus operators because we know that they are really the face of our system. They engage with our customers more than anyone else within our Samtrans workforce. And so we're really looking to hear from them about what they're hearing from our customers and how we can incorporate their feedback. We also did a community survey that was open to everyone that closed January 15th, but we had nearly 3,000 participants in that survey. And although that has closed, we're always collecting community comments on our website. So anyone, even now today, throughout the whole project, can visit reimaginesamtrans.com and give us feedback on how we can improve. So one of the things that we were really asking people in our outreach and in our community survey was about all the trade-offs and different ways that we can invest in Samtrans. And so some of the things that we're thinking about is more frequent service, which we hear about all the time as being something that people want. Earlier bus service in the day, more midday service later in the evening, weekend service to new areas. Faster routes with fewer stops is something that we're thinking about. The travel speed and the travel time that it takes to use Samtrans, time transfers to regional transit, better bus stop shelters and amenities, and finally improved real-time information. And one of the things that we did at our community outreach, and I actually have a board in the back. If anyone wants to participate from the community, feel free to, or if any council members would like to participate, we do have a DOT board back there. And the DOT exercise, interactive exercise, really asks about those 10 possible investment buckets. So what we did is there's 10 choices, and we gave folks in the community 4 dots. So they had to pick their top 4 priorities of 10. It was kind of challenging. But we had more than 380 people just do that particular exercise, and we actually think it was really good for engaging with people out in the community. You know, they saw our little setup, and they really decided to come over and talk to us. So that was great. And results really varied by the event location and time of day. But this chart, this graph just has overall some of the findings, and I think frequency was the #1 most popular choice, followed by real-time information and faster routes. So this is only one, input, but it's one way of sort of thinking about the different trade-offs. So just to wrap up, there are many opportunities to provide feedback on Reimagine Samtrans. We are trying to communicate that if you have feedback on our bus service, now is a really, really good time to become involved. There's a lot of opportunity for change and for improvement right now. So folks can comment anytime on our website or email us at the link and the email address at the bottom of the screen. And a question I think we'd love to hear the answer to is what's working and what's not working today about either a certain route or just our network as a whole. And did want to make sure to emphasize that we will have a second round of community outreach in the spring. And we would love to be invited to table at any community events or present to any community groups. And if you have any ideas on that or any contacts for us, please again email us at our Reimagine Samtrans email address. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions or hear any comments.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I believe we all received a questionnaire that Mitzi forwarded some days ago, and I hope everybody had an opportunity to participate in that. And so here at the North Fair Oaks community, we have a few events a year where I think it would be good for you guys to come join us and have a table and try to capture some of the residents' feedback, because I know for a fact that underserved communities where a labor force lives, such as North Fair Oaks, they rely heavily on public transit. So I think it would be good to reach out to the population of North Fair Oaks and other unincorporated communities for that matter. One question that I often have is if transportation authorities in some way collaborate with employers that employ large numbers of employees, because obviously those are repeated trips, known trips that can be somehow captured. And, you know, I speak for myself, for example, you know, working for Stanford University, I know that this is an organization that does not provide a bus service that, for example, like Facebook and Google and these other organizations that have their own bus system. And so those employers that do not provide their buses, I think it would be good to be in communication with, to try to capture some of those daily trips, because I think it would be a good way to create new routes that move people from point A to point B, and would end up cutting significantly the traffic and perhaps increasing the ridership for transportation authorities. But I will make sure to send some of the feedback and you know other options that I wrote down. But thanks for your presentation. And if any other council members have brief questions, please do so.
Okay, I'll be brief. Samtrans was at the table when the North Fair Oaks community plan was developed. And one of their commitments way back then was to provide a Middlefield Road shuttle using the Stanford Marguerite type of shuttle as a model. It's been many years since that was last discussed, but I would like to throw it out to make sure it's still on the table. The reconfiguration of Middlefield, it will be quite a while before it actually is completed, but that's still there. So I just wanted to throw that out, okay? The second thing was during the winter time, I think we need more shelters. And is it possible for, not necessarily at bus stops, or do they only have to be at bus stops? I don't know. But anyway, just there's a need for more shelters during winter and during summer. There's a lot of areas in North Fair Oaks where there's no trees, no shade, and you see people just either in the cold or in the heat. In light of climate change, I think that's something also to consider, shelters. And then my third question, or comment actually, or it's a question, how is all of this being included in the whole discussion that's going on about a transit hub and just a reconfiguration of transit that's going to go through North Fair Oaks? I mean, I know it's trains and buses, but where's the connection?
Are you referring to the Dumbarton, potential Dumbarton project?
Yes.
So this project—
I don't see the connection.
Yeah, I mean, we always try and be as coordinated as we can with our other transit modes. This is such a near-term project for implementation in 2021 that we aren't, I mean, the Dumbarton corridor will not be, there will not be a train in the Dumbarton corridor in 2021. So this is much more near-term. But I think whenever or if that becomes a reality, that will probably trigger an evaluation of the bus service to make sure that it is coordinated. But this particular effort is happening so much sooner than the rail study that it's a little bit on a different timeline.
Okay, but it's part of the big picture.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, through the chair. When you mention a public outreach, have you done much public outreach here in North Fair Oaks, in particular in North Fair Oaks?
Yes, so we were actually here in December in this room for the food bank event, and we had folks who were roving throughout the line as folks were waiting who spoke Spanish, who were able to have folks take the survey while they were waiting. I think that was our most focused event specifically in North Fair Oaks, but we also did a tabling event at Redwood City Caltrain, which is a really big connection point for Samtrans riders into Redwood City, so that was nearby. And we also did outreach on the El Camino Real corridor up and down adjacent to North Fair Oaks. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much again, and we'll look forward to completion of the project.
Yeah, and I would just reiterate, if there's a specific event that you hear about in the springtime, please email us and say, come on out and be at our event. We'd love to be at more events in North Fair Oaks.
Yeah, like I said, I will email
Please
you
do.
my comments and suggestions, and I will include a couple of these events that we have yearly in North Fair Oaks.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Is there any public comment for these?
No public comment.
Thank you, Mitzi. And next item on the agenda, just a brief reminder that we still have two presentations, so let's try to keep it brief. Next presentation is going to be from the Siena Youth Center, a presentation by the Director of Programs, Rafael Lavendaño. Welcome, Rafael.
Thank you. Thank you, Mitzi. Hello, Council. It's great to be here. I am the director of the Siena Youth Center of the St. Francis Center, multi-service nonprofit organization that specializes in low-income housing, community garden spaces, food, clothing, immigration services, and we have the Siena Youth Center, which is a community hub. We do a lot of non-traditional learning space programming that specializes in leadership, art and cultural awareness, education, and yeah, I'm very excited to be here to tell you about all the good things happening at Siena Youth Center. Just this is what I do every year. I come and tell you how our year went. I'm going to try to do it really quickly because I got 10 minutes. So these are two of our program leaders. At Siena Youth Center, our high school students help basically staff our space. We really believe in peer mentorship at Siena Youth Center, so if you come on any day, you'll see a lot of high schoolers there, but they're there to not just learn, listen, respect, they're there to mentor. And so this is Joanna, and this is Katie. So the Siena Youth Center, the St. Francis Center, is a nonprofit organization which focuses on helping families in need in Redwood City, and attempts to assist them in being self-sufficient in whatever ways will allow them to live in dignity and become self-supporting members of the community. This is a cleanup that we had. We tend to clean up our community every month, and we have a partnership with the County of San Mateo because the materials are, they're expensive. Those bags are awesome. They're very thick. So the Office of Sustainability supports us in getting bags and gloves and picker-uppers to be able to keep our communities clean and lively. Some of our organizational goals are to alleviate suffering by providing direct services to the economically disadvantaged. So we do that by hosting bike repair nights, art and self-expression nights with Danza Colibri. We do speaker series for our youth to be able to learn about just different ways on how to navigate systems of oppression that exist in our communities. We really base our work around theory and critical pedagogy, which allows them to really understand school to prison pipeline, stigma, criminalization, and just also mental health and how that affects their learning in school and out of school. We advocate towards efforts that hit our community, such as the Pink Panther coffee shop, as well as housing disparities that exist in our community. If we see something's wrong and the kids say it, we mobilize and we go do something about it. Our youth leadership of North Fair Oaks is it's very respected, as you all may know some of these students. They're involved in a lot of the events that happen in our community, such as the mural unveiling, such as an Oye conference. We helped start the Oye conference with the North Fair Oaks Youth Initiative. And we actually host workshops every year for the past 7 years or so forth. I forget how many years now. Sorry, I've been doing this for 8 years, so. In addition, we also host really cool theater nights. So we just got our sound fixed, which some of you are going to be really excited about. We put up sound panels all around our gym, and so our acoustics are so much better. So next time you come to an event, you'll notice our acoustics are better, and we have blinds now that are automated. So it's really you could say it's one of the state-of-the-art facilities in our community, to a very, very busy space. Last year, we were able to take 3 of our students to the New York City Bike Summit. We have a very energetic biking program, and these kids presented at the National Youth Bike Conference. And it was really exciting to have them share about what biking is doing in their life and how we're able to take it to another level by mobilizing our youth. We constantly host basketball programs for our youth. So we have a sheriff's program. Twice a year, we set up a game with the sheriffs, and our transition age youth and adolescent youth play basketball with the sheriffs. And it's a really great, friendly game. We mix up teams, and I coach a team, and a sheriff coaches another team. So it's a great dynamic. Last year, Sister Christina was awarded, she's our executive director, the Sheriff's Award for all the work that we're doing. And she was really trying to say, oh, this is for the organization, because she really believes in allyship and continuing what we're doing as a community as a whole. But yeah, that's Sheriff Bolanos on the side here. Every year we take a snow trip, and we're planning our snow trip this year. So we're taking our kids in March to Donner. In addition, this is a training for our high school leaders. We've had many amazing panels, women in leadership panels. In that one, we had Sister Christina, Ana Avendaño, she works here at the Fair Oaks, Terry Chin, and Madai Cornejo, she's here. Thanks, Madai, for being there. So we really try to make sure that our Latinx youth learn about different styles of leadership, and that includes women in leadership, just so that they're aware of the movements that are happening. Danza Colibri is a program that is offered at Siena Youth Center, and it's an art and cultural awareness program by Marta Celis. She runs programs here as well, and they teach the kids traditional and non-traditional arts, and such as jarana and son jaracho, which is a certain style of music from Mexico, and it's very, very beautiful. We have a lot of skill building courses, so we really believe in financial literacy at the Siena Youth Center. We can't just talk about college and not talk about how much it costs. So we try to tell our kids about the realness of college, and that means saving monies and how that goes and what we need to do. So we start them early. 4th grade, we're talking about this stuff, because at 4th grade, if you don't know about it, even our parents, it's already getting kind of late, right? Let's just be real. So my time is coming up, but you're always invited to the Siena Youth Center. These are all the events. I gave you a packet of our report, which is very robust, and it has a lot of our data. And I want to share that actually before I'm done. Last year, on our post survey, 94% of our youth feel safe in our community based on our programs. 92% of them have indicated that nature and the great outdoors are something that they feel valued, because we do the biking, the hiking, the outdoors programs. So they're really into that. 89% of them say that Siena provides mentorship and support. 88% of them indicated that they are happy with who they are. In the age of mental health and all that we're seeing, I'm really proud of that number. 83% of them watch less TV since joining Siena Youth Center. So those are some numbers that really propel us to do our work and to continue to do it seamlessly. So any questions, Council?
Council members have questions, please go ahead. Go ahead, Beatrice.
The students that come to the center, are from the neighborhood, or were they before from Selby?
Yeah, so we have a partnership with Selby Adelante, but we actually take students from anywhere in North Fair Oaks. This year,
okay.
we being that it's now a K through 5,
Right.
we partner with Kennedy, we partner with all local schools.
Okay.
So if you have a student that really wants to come, refer them. As long as they could get there. That's the thing right now with transportation. It's hard, but we'll accept.
Okay.
We're back to like year one where we first started, where we're trying to build up the cohorts because we started with 3rd grade again. Yeah.
Yeah, through the chair, I recognize some of my own students. I'm a teacher at Woodside High School, so I noticed some of my students that you have here. So I'd like to maybe talk to you after, because I run a Young Latino Leaders Club at my high school for over 15 years. But so I see there's a lot of students that we have in common.
Oh, awesome.
So
yeah.
keep up the good work.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
So thanks very much, Rafael.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rafael. Good to see you.
Yeah, you as well.
Thanks for your great work and keep it up. Is there any public comment?
No public comment.
Okay, thank you, Mitzi. And so next item, we'll have a presentation regarding San Mateo County REACH codes. Presentation by Rachel Lunder, Senior Sustainability Coordinator.
Good evening, council, community. It's nice to be here this evening. Thank you for taking some time to learn more about our Building REACH Codes effort. I know you had a briefing last week on our climate action plan, and I'm here to kind of dive into one of those measures and one of those topics. Once again, my name is Rachel. I'm with the County Office of Sustainability, and we'll just get started here. So I'm going to describe what REACH codes are. It can get pretty technical fast, so let's take a moment to dive out and understand why we want to explore this policy pathway and understand what benefits there are and what we hope to achieve with amending our building codes. We'll talk about the policy that we're going to be bringing to our board on Tuesday, as well as next steps for the North Fair Oaks Community Council. So what are REACH codes? REACH codes are local enhancements that we can make to the state building standards code. So every 3 years, the California state government updates our building standards. This dictates how any type of building is to be done across the state. So alterations, new constructions, additions, second units, really any type of construction projects, our local building department adheres to that state code. But the state gives us an opportunity to make amendments to those codes to meet our local building, climate, safety goals. And so we're taking advantage of this opportunity that the state has given us to amend the energy and green building codes. And that's an effort we're doing in sustainability. And Justin will talk about our amendments to the fire codes. Also, we can meet our local climate and building goals here. The new code started January 1, 2020, and so that's why there's a lot of momentum around REACH codes right now, because it's a perfect opportunity to amend this new building code before everyone, learns it already. But these REACH codes can be adopted at any time in the code cycle. The slides that you have they're the same slides, but I changed some of the text to be a little bit more descriptive, since I know I haven't presented on this topic to this group before. But I wanted to share why we're exploring REACH codes and the bigger picture behind going all electric. That's what our REACH code aims to do. We really want to reduce the negative impacts from methane gas or natural gas. Natural gas is typically used to heat our homes, heat our water, sometimes used for cooking. So it has several uses in our homes and in all of our buildings. But in using natural gas, it has a negative impact on climate. We know that it emits greenhouse gas emissions and pollutants, and we have this really excellent opportunity with Peninsula Clean Energy. This was formed by the county and all of the cities to start addressing the climate impact of our energy and start looking at how we can use more renewable energy. Turns out renewable energy is mostly commonly adopted as solar, and that fits best for electricity. And so to utilize the solar power that we have through Peninsula Clean Energy, we have this opportunity to electrify everything that uses fuel. So we can electrify our homes, we can electrify our schools, all of our buildings, and we can even electrify our transportation. As you can see, Peninsula Clean Energy is going to be having 100% renewably sourced electricity in the near future, 2023. And in addition, there's some momentum from the state. The state will be requiring all buildings to be all electric, even existing buildings by 2045. And so that's a goal we're ramping up for. Whether we meet it or not, we'll keep talking about that. We're also hoping to achieve several other local building goals with our REACH codes. We're hoping to have cheaper construction with all electric building, as we're avoiding the natural gas infrastructure, which tends to be one of the more costly pieces of construction projects. We're also looking to improve indoor air quality and have positive health outcomes for our residents. There's several studies on the negative impacts of natural gas in homes, but most alarming to us is the risk of gas stoves in the home from not only burns, but also the pollutants in natural gas, including formaldehyde, that can really negatively impact respiratory health. And then reducing the risk of fires. We all know about the San Bruno explosion, preventing that sort of incident from happening anywhere else in our county and state. And then again, having a positive impact on our climate. And this image demonstrates that all of our buildings produce more air pollutants than all the power plants in California. So our buildings are essentially power plants and huge pieces of our indoor air quality pie. And so we've had a year-long process with Peninsula Clean Energy on coming up with REACH codes, from even just talking about, is this something we want to explore? And the state helped us out and did some analysis to let us know what sort of REACH codes would be cost-effective. That means they wouldn't put an unduly cost burden on the builder. And then we worked with Planning on Building to see what would make sense for their permit applicants. And we had over 10 engagement events with the building community, attended by over 350 people, that really shaped the REACH code language that I'm going to share with you. So we're focusing on electrifying our buildings, using solar to power our buildings, and then getting electric vehicle charging stations in more spots. We know if people can have access to charging, they're more likely to be able to get an electric vehicle, and that would be important for our air quality as well. So the types of construction projects we're talking about here, we're talking about all these building types, from single-family homes, second units, apartments, businesses, office spaces, and this would only apply to new construction of these buildings. So if you're building ground up, new home, this code would apply. Same with ground up, new business, this would apply. It does not apply to any renovations, additions, alterations, or anything like that. So what we're proposing, and what we'll be proposing on the 28th, is requiring electric fuel source for space heating, water heating, and clothes drying in all of those building types if you're going to build a new building. That's just an example of a cool electric technology. That's a heat pump water heater. It has like a 40-gallon tank, is really efficient. And so we're talking about different technologies, not electric resistance, but really high efficient equipment. This is not a gas ban. We are still allowing folks to use gas for fireplaces, cooking, decorative appliances, barbecue. But in those instances where a gas appliance is installed, the recommendation would be to install an outlet so someone could replace it with an electric appliance in the future when they do a retrofit. And this slide just demonstrates where all those gas appliances are in the home to help visualize there. And it also shows how much the cost differences between electric and gas. So if you look at the water heater, it's $510 cheaper to install an electric water heater over a gas water heater. And then you can see with the energy, that's the cost per month that you'll expect to see on your utility bill. So it's a $7 a month increase with the electric water heater. But if you sum all of those appliances, you can see on the summary that there's about $11,000 savings in building all electric, again, avoiding that gas infrastructure as well as the individual gas hookups at each appliance, and then potentially a slight increase in energy, but that depends on how the solar system is installed. We'd also be looking at solar. The state is already requiring single-family homes and small multifamily to install solar. We're going to extend that, or we're looking to extend that requirement for businesses, offices, and high-rise apartments, just so they have the opportunity to use solar to offset their electric load. And then for electric vehicles, we want to provide more access to folks. And so what we've gotten feedback on and what we're looking to do is, on the left, the state already has guidelines for electric vehicles, and on the right is what we would be proposing to the board. For single family, just giving folks 2 outlets. So we call the dryer outlet or the 220, 240 volt outlet, or what you would see for like your dryer. That's called a level 2 outlet because you can buy a level 2 station and plug it right in without calling an electrician. And then the other one is just your typical 110 outlet, and you can also charge an electric vehicle with that. It's just much slower. So you can see the level 2 gives you 25 miles of range per hour, and the level 1 gives you 4 miles. For multifamily, we'd be recommending 10% of all units with parking to have the level 2 outlet, and then 40% to have the level 1, giving capacity to 50% of the units. And for office buildings, we know a lot of folks are parked there during the day, so we would require 10% level 2 EV stations installed, so that way they can be managed and folks can move their vehicles and get in and out and have that fast level of charging people have come to expect. And then 10% level 1 EV ready, and then 30% where you just have the wiring underground, like on the left diagram. You don't need to have the outlet stub out. And for businesses and shopping centers, and might be where you most commonly interact with electric vehicle charging stations, we'd be recommending 6% level 2 installed, and then 5% with the level 1 EV outlet. So our next step is we're going to be finalizing this code language based on any of your feedback that we get tonight, and we are preparing it for our Tuesday board meeting, where we're going to be asking the Board of Supervisors to propose a first reading of this ordinance. And if approved, this would come into effect probably around March 2020, pending our state approval process. I want to leave my contact up there as well as our website. There is information online about this specific code, as well as the dangers of natural gas and the benefits of electric vehicles, and there's a lot we can really dig into. So just want to let you know I'm available by phone and email, and we'll be eagerly interested in conversation tonight. And so that's all I have for you.
Thank you very much. Just briefly, I think I will skip questions for now because we only have 8 minutes.
Oh.
If that's okay with everybody, we can, if we have specific questions or comments, we can email Rachel. But I just have to say that one recommendation that might be good to take would be to, for the implementation of these new REACH codes, to take into consideration that many of the residents in North Fair Oaks may not have sufficient funding to, out of their pockets, be able to update, to get those updates that are necessary, and so. If there is a way to help, particularly those who have very low incomes, it would be greatly appreciated. I know that given the world conditions in terms of the climate and the natural resources, this is something that we must do in spite of the costs. However, I believe that somehow government funds and taxpayers' money should be utilized also to lift up those who cannot sustain, their own weight. So, and North Fair Oaks would be one of these communities that is going to need special attention in this regard.
Absolutely, and that's the intention. This would only be for new construction, and then phase 2, or going into this year, is really looking at how we can support people in upgrading their homes to have the same benefit of comfortability, health, cost savings on their utility bills. We have several programs in the work to really start helping transition homes.
Right.
Yes, we'll be in touch.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Sorry, I have a question through the chair.
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
So if my water heater breaks down in April of 2020, does that mean I have to get an electric?
No, you absolutely don't. This is only for new construction. So if in April you're going to tear your house down and build a new house, then yes, you would need to.
So if my water heater broke down in April, I can just get a regular water heater? Okay.
Yeah, and to Councilmember Rodriguez's point, we will have incentives by April to help you fund an electric water heater if you so choose.
Thanks again. Is there any public comment for these?
No public comment.
Thanks very much, Mitzi. And so finally we get to the reports. Do we have a supervisor's report?
Good evening, wait, I thought I could leave it, but no. Okay. Good evening, council members and county staff. My name is Maggie Cornejo, and I'm a legislative aide to Supervisor Warren Slocum. I'll make this super brief because I know we're short on time, but I'm here to talk to you guys about the women's well-being community conversation that we're going to be hosting on February 18th here at the community center from 6 to 8:30. And that's in partnership with the Sheriff's Office as well as CARON. The purpose of this community conversation is to really get the women in North Fair Oaks to know what kind of resources there is in the county, and as well to talk to them about like law enforcement and safety tips on how to take care of ourselves. And we're going to have a panel with Cora, the Sheriff's Office. Actually, Captain Corpus is going to be on the panel to share some of her insight on women's safety tips for the community. And although it's targeted to women, men and women are welcome to come and join in on the conversation. We're also going to have somebody from human trafficking to talk about their experiences and their tips on that topic. And we'll be sharing some personal stories of other women that have been going through maybe times in their lives where they didn't feel safe. So yeah, and the supervisor is really excited to hear what the community has to say and see how the dialogue goes between our panelists and the community. We're going to have childcare and food and try to make this a good experience for everyone. And then lastly, the supervisor was elected president of the board this January, so he's now representing the whole San Mateo County, and he plans to focus on equity and inclusiveness in all of San Mateo County. He also plans to continue the work building more affordable housing, moving the needle to resolve homelessness, especially in families and veterans, and as well reduce traffic congestions. If there's any questions for me or comments?
Any burning questions from council members?
Can I make a brief comment through the chair? I'm sure you're doing a lot of community outreach for this night, but there's a lot of organizations here at the Fair Oaks Community Center that live in North Fair Oaks, particularly, although it's open to all the community, but there's events that come to mind here, like they have exercise groups here where it's predominantly all Latina women that live in North Fair Oaks. So I don't know if you're doing outreach to the groups that benefit or use these facilities here at the Fair Oaks Community Center?
So we did outreach on coming to the community center and try to like distribute flyers, and I know that CARON is also they're really big experts on doing outreach. So they're going to like San Anthony's, they're distributing on their academies. But I will definitely talk to this. Are you referring to Zumba?
Yeah, the Zumba.
Yeah. We
There's a
can
huge
reach out
turnout
to
here.
her and then see if she can invite her participants.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much, Maggie.
Question.
Oh, Jennifer. Yeah.
Is
Go
there
ahead.
a limit of women that can attend?
No, the more the merrier.
Okay.
And like I said, it's not just for women, but we do want to start that conversation in the community with women. Yeah.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
Thanks very much. Do we have a county manager's report?
Yes, thank you. Just very, very briefly, because in the interest of time, I just wanted to highlight a couple of other things that is coming before the board, and you can please, reach out to me if you have any questions. One is another REACH code that the board will be asked to approve from the fire districts, and that's for sprinkling, new additions, and new builds for adding sprinklers. So the Menlo Fire District is going to be asking for a REACH code where if you are you have to install fire sprinklers in an existing building if the size of the addition or alteration exceeds 50% of the existing structure's area. And then the Redwood City Fire Department's code is going to be requiring fire sprinklers if you're doing an addition or alteration to an existing home that is equal to or greater than 1,000 square feet. So those are the two that are going to be going to the board. One other thing, and please, I know the time is short and I'm talking fast, so email me if you have any questions on this, is the board is going to be considering an ordinance on food disposable waste. So we already have an ordinance restricting styrofoam, right? There's no styrofoam. This one is going to further restrict that to not having what's called those biodegradable plastics, because they're not really, they still end up in the ocean, in the landfill. They're not really compostable, or they're not being composted. So this is going to be generally requiring, and I'm sorry, the specialists are in the audience are probably shaking their head because I'm saying it wrong, but it's more of the kind of biodegradable fiber kind of products. There's been a lot of outreach to every single restaurant or food distributor in the unincorporated area on this. If you have any questions, please send them on over to me. Not much in the way of announcements. We'll put it in the minutes for a lot of things I just want to say. One thing that came up at the most recent neighborhood response team meeting was that we're seeing a little bit of increase of dumping of refrigerators on the street, probably spurred by the fact that the metal recyclers aren't taking them anymore, or it's harder to recycle a refrigerator. So we just want to get out to the community. There are ways to recycle your refrigerator. Recology will take it as part of a bulky item pickup, or Peninsula Clean Energy also has a refrigerator recycling program. So please spread the word. The way to contact Recology and PCE will be in the minutes. One other thing is there's 3 vacancies on the council, and the deadline for applications is February 21st. So please let anyone know who may be interested in serving on the council. And at the next meeting, we're going to have the election of officers, the chair and the vice chair.
Thanks very much, Justin. Any burning questions? Otherwise, thank you. And are there any council members' reports? I don't see any. So thank you very much. And with that, we will adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everybody. Good night.